Alright, so in this video we're going to look at macroing up meditation specifically. Now, normally you're not going to need to do this because you're going to be GM meditation far before you GM majory, so this usually isn't an issue. But there are, of course, some circumstances where this may come into a factor. So, like, for example, if you don't want to worry about majory, but you want to become a necro, and necros can't really use majory, but they do need meditation. I would still suggest you get some majory to do this, just to macro it up to GM, and then you can drop it after. But you don't actually need to GM your majory. And the reason because of this is you don't really want to macro meditation with necro spells, because necro spells are quite a bit more expensive to do than majory. So it's better just to use the majory spells to do the meditation. There's quite a lot of spells you can use in your mage book. So you really just need to see what your actual majory is at. So for example, if you've got very low majory, then ideally you're probably going to want to use telekinesis to macro your majory or your meditation up. Once your meditation hits GM, you can just delete your majory and not worry about it. But in this example, I'm going to assume that we already have GM majory. And there's two ways that we can do this. The first way is just by yourself, and the second way is with a second character. And the reason there is a distinction is because you're not able to actually mana vampire or mana drain yourself. So when you try to do that, it'll say you cannot mana drain or you cannot mana vampire yourself. It'll still use the majory, the mana, but it won't actually take any more than just what the mana was to use it. And so I wouldn't suggest using the Circle 7 just because it can fail and it uses 4 regs. Ideally, the best spell to use for GM Majory would be Invisibility. And that's because it's a Circle 6, which means it's never going to fail. And the reason is you don't want to fail is because when you fail, it uses the regs but doesn't take the mana away from you. But a Circle 6 at GM Majory is never going to fail, or it's very unlikely to fail. And it only takes 2 regs up. So you can essentially just spam this on yourself, using essentially the same macro that you would use to level Majory. So you just drag the invisibility onto it. You can do a sleep. You'll need a little bit of a sleep delay for this because this spell takes a while to cast. So say 1.5 seconds for that. And then you just do a target self and a loop. And then that'll just spam this spell on you over and over again, which you can use to level up your majory. Your meditation. Now, the other way you could do it is if you had a second character. And if you do have a second character with majory, what you would want to do is actually just join them into a group, enable the PvP so that you don't get guards called on you, and use the mana drain on your second character. But we can go into that in a different video.